Hello, everyone. I'm Deborah Taylor, Dr. Deborah Taylor, and I want to welcome you to our little talk today with Dr. Angela Gunder. She is the keynote speaker for SIDLIT 2023, and she is also the CAO for the Online Learning Consortium. And we're really looking forward to hearing what she is going to share with us. So I thought I'd let you meet her early and we'll have a little talk.
Thanks, Deb, for that warm introduction. And hello to everybody. I'm super excited to be delivering this keynote on a series of topics that are near and dear to my heart and also very close to my research and my scholarship. And that's looking at the affordances of digital learning spaces in terms of advancing quality, equity, and care in our support for our students. So the talk is entitled Embracing the Digital Turn, and some of you may not be familiar with that term of the digital turn, so I can give you a little bit of a history on that. It actually comes from a term called the social turn, and if you're familiar with the work of James G., he's actually here in Arizona where I'm located, this was a term that he and his colleagues first started using in the 80s and 90s to talk about digital literacies, and actually literacies, even before we were really talking about digital spaces. Although even then, there was some talk about the communicative aspects of the work that was happening, and the burgeoning origins of what would then become digital learning. And these conversations about literacies really saw them as pluralistic. So not literacy as a binary of I'm literate or I'm not, but just that the idea that there are myriad literacies, that they're pluralistic, and that they're rooted in the context of the cultures within which we participate, which we're a part of. So it's kind of a beautiful notion that the work that we do within education is social, is collaborative, and we make meaning together. Doesn't sound too far from the work that we do in teaching and learning. So then fast forward a whole lot to when we actually referred to the digital turn, and that was a term that Kathy Mills first used in about 2010. And she was referring to our literacies practices having turned towards the affordances of digital learning environments, but that those practices continue to be pluralistic, they continue to be collaborative and rooted in culture. So what I'm really excited to engage all of us in at the conference is taking a look at how things are going in this peri-pandemic time. You notice I still say that we're still within the pandemic, but as we look towards a future of learning that is resilient, particularly in a time of emergency responsiveness, where we've had to make quick changes to not only our practices and our strategies, but even our mindsets around what teaching and learning that is quality, that is equitable, and that centers care looks like and feels like. And what I'm going to talk about is how the digital turn can become a lens, a really important lens for that work. And I want people to leave thinking about three big driving questions, and they're things that I wrestle with, and in my work at the OLC, I am humbled to work with folks that are part of school systems across the United States, but also entire countries across the world, in thinking about answering these questions in ways that will advance quality, equity, and care in education. So the first question is, how might we recognize the many paths to success in supporting access to quality education for all learners and not just a privileged few? And we in the US really discovered this in new and painful ways during the pandemic, perhaps illuminating for the first time how we're falling short in a lot of different ways that perhaps we didn't even know before. Access to internet being one of those huge considerations that we really discovered in some painful ways that we need to address now. The second is, how might centering care in our work allow us to be more impactful, and not just care for our students, but care for each other as colleagues in supporting our students. And last but not least, and this is something that has been hallmark to the greatest moments in my career and my work, and in my professional contributions of service to the field. And I can say that, many of us would agree on this, is what can we do better by working together? How are collaborations, how are, formal and informal connections that we create, how might tearing down the silos that sit between us, the boundaries that sit between us, help us to realize the promises that we've been working for within education, and making sure that, we're living up to that work that we have dedicated ourselves to doing. So just a brief taste of what I hope to talk about. Selfishly, I'm also eager to see the questions from the community that come in, and to learn from all of the participants of this event too. That's the best thing about doing these kinds of things, is that I get to share my perspective and share my unique lens on this work. But I'm a lifelong learner, so I'll be sitting at all of the participants' feet as well to learn from them, and to really advance the work that we're doing in terms of our access and impact mission that we have within teaching and learning broadly.
Oh, I'm so excited. I can't wait. Oh, if only we're face to face, but we understand it's hard to travel right now. And even you're right, the pandemic is not over, and people don't understand that, but we're being as careful as we can. So we are going to have a face-to-face component, and as well as a virtual opportunity for each of the sessions. So you're going to be on a big screen in the room with us that are there. And then
I love that, Deb, because it allows us to engage in the best of all worlds, which is within blended learning, which I see, and the OLC is doing quite a bit of work on trying to model those practices that can help us bridge our face-to-face experiences and our online experiences seamlessly. So it's going to be great.
So we're a great test, we'll just test it out. Okay. Well, all right. Well, thank you so much for your time, and I'll see you next week.
We'll see you then. Take care.
Bye.